Hello, fellow Questers, and welcome to the SuterQuest blog. It's a very exciting day here at SuterQuest Studios, as today is the first installment of our new series, Discussions with Devs, your guide on the awesome journey through the indie dev community. I am your host, Ryan Suter, and today we're going to be talking with Chris Cross from Los Angeles, California. He's an 18-year game industry veteran and the president and co-founder of Tarver Games LLC. Chris, welcome to the program.
Hey, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
Great, pleasure to have you here. So, Chris, you're working on a new project that's up on your blog. Why don't you tell us about that?
Basically, I came around to doing this space idea just in my sort of, I needed a project to learn Unity, right? I needed to pick something that was kind of doable. And I wanted to bring a twist to tower defense games that I hadn't seen yet. And that was basically doing, orbital gravity and satellites.
Yeah.
Right? And I thought that would be very neat to do.
You said that you were building the game in Unity. Can you briefly go over what that is and why you decided to use it?
Sure. So Unity 3D is essentially a free or cheap 3D editor where you can assemble your games and then export them to be played either in a web browser or you can port to iPhone or port to what's the date today?
It is the 5th.
So 3 more days. You have till the 8th. The iPhone and Android export plugins for Unity 3D are free until the 8th. I highly recommend you jump out and grab those. It's like a $800 savings. Anyway, wow. So yeah, because I'm not using Unity Pro. I'm using Unity like whatever the free edition is. But they don't restrict you from being able to export to PC standalone, Mac standalone, and like that was what was really appealing about Unity 3D to me was like it wasn't specifically an engine that was aimed at consoles or aimed at PCs or any particular platform. It was basically, wow, there's a potential here to go to every platform if you've got the right design. Right. Like I don't think that I would design a PC game and then try and port it to the iPhone necessarily, unless I knew I was going to do that, in which case you're going to get something like some kind of weird hybrid.
Yeah, but if you're going to make a game for the iPhone, then you kind of want to, utilize its unique functions like touch and accelerometers and things.
Touch, multi-touch, swipe, accelerometer if it's appropriate. Right. So, well, the most unique thing about the iPhone to me, more earlier in its life cycle, was that it was the first quote unquote console that I've ever worked on.
Yeah.
That I could guarantee was always connected. Right? Because if it's your phone, you most likely have a data plan, right?
Right.
Like the amount of Xbox Live subscriptions is still not 100%. Right, and so like with the phone, it was like, wow, everybody's connected.
Everyone's
this is
have
awesome. I can assume all of these things. So anyway, so I picked Unity, and that's what I'm going for. And it's basically there's the old man part of me that was like, learn another engine, right? But the other part of it was like, okay, I need something that I'm excited about to drive me through those like days when my brain's not connecting.
And the community in there is pretty active as well. You actually talk a lot about this game on your blog at tarvergames.blogspot.com, and you talk about how different people will post different parts, and you can really easily, someone will say, hey, I made this certain piece of code that's good for X, Y, or Z, and you've pulled those into your game and used them.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, one of the coolest things about Unity is they have an asset store that you can, let's say you build a package or like some piece of tool extension, or even, you build a very nice striped ball. Mm-hmm. You can sell it on the Unity asset store, right? So that basically I can pay you $5 to use your striped ball, right, in my playroom set. And so what's really cool about that is like, you don't have to build everything from scratch. Mm-hmm. And so that was neat to me because I was like, look, I can redesign all of this stuff, but hey, look, a tower defense toolkit. Why don't I go pick that up? It's $50, right? and which sounds like a lot of money, but when you think about running a whole team or even 6 people at whatever their salaries are for even a week and a half or 2 weeks, you blow through $50, right? And so it's basically it was a great way for me to learn how other people in the community are using Unity. What's kind of a good, efficient way to do things, and also to give me an idea of what path I should take, or what I do and don't like about the engine, or like what's the most comfortable way for me to work with it. And it's cool. Like I've been able to sort of web source any questions I have. Right. So I'm like, all right, I'm stuck. I'm going to swallow my ego and just ask the newbie question, and post it. And there's forums, there's Unify community. There's a host of tutorial sites, and it's like the information is out there, right? That's why my blog is the format that it is, and it's not a tutorial site, because I don't profess to know enough about Unity to actually write like clear tutorials
right
about it, but it's more about my journey through making this game and trying to expose the game design decisions hidden in what you would think would be just a gut reaction.
Right. Well, gut reaction for someone that's been doing it for 20 years, maybe not for someone that's starting out.
Sure. Or even it's weird that, it's like, you ever hear the old adage that at the beginning of your journey up the mountain, it's just a mountain, but along the path, it turns into like a tree and a rock and a frog and a river and a stream. And there's all these details, right, on your journey. But when you get to the top and you look back down, well, it just looks like a mountain again. And so, 20 years into this, I feel like I'm more connected with a beginning game designer than I was 10 years ago, right? And so the things that are gut reactions or instinctual for me just have different reasons, right? Because the things that are instinctual for you or another game designer comes from your experience, right? And everybody as a game player, if you're in like, I don't know, like I would have said hardcore, but if you're an avid gamer at all, you have a deep instinct just from sampling lots of games, right? So, but the difference is that later on in your career, you're able to verbalize or communicate why you're having those feelings, right?
Right.
Or why you're having those instinctual bits, and so that's kind of the point of the blog, right? It's actually aimed at my friend Alex Norris, who's a budding game designer, and it's like, can I help him work through his questions about game design? And I know some of it's going to seem pedantic or really easy or too simple, but whatever.
Well, a lot of times questions will seem like that, and then once you think, oh, I don't need to answer those things I already know those, but then you actually sit down to ask yourselves those questions, and you know what? Your question's a lot harder than you think it is.
Right. True. And so, the only way to figure that stuff out is like, that's important that I've picked an audience for the blog, right? Is basically, I'm not writing it for me or what I think is easy. I'm just trying to make sure that I give this person enough information to understand my thought process a little bit.
Yeah, that's really cool. All right, Chris. Well, one final question for you right now. What are you playing right now?
So I'm playing a lot of League of Legends, a little bit of World of Tanks, and a good amount of Saints Row, the third. Mainly, I don't know. That's just what I'm playing right now.
Very cool.
For my own personal reasons. You'd think I'd play more shooters, but I don't. I'm much more into sort of fantastic fantasy or competitive sport type games. So.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, Chris.
Thanks for having me, Ryan.
All right.